Welcome, friends, to another episode of Political Matrix News. This is, what is this, March 5th, 2025. Woo, man, this is
Yes,
flying by.
it is flying by.
And just like Trump's first term, it's going to be over before we know it, and everyone will be sad to see the man go because even the Democrats are starting to slowly, not like him, but resent him less, and which may be all we can ever hope for.
I mean, they're going to be broke. They'll have nothing to fundraise off of at all.
It's ridiculous. I'm Scott Miller. This is Greg Fink. We're the Political Matrix News, and we're on the Political Matrix News edition today. We've been in professional campaigners and pollsters for 30 years apiece. This is our gig, so we've always been up in it. So what we bring is a behind the scenes, behind the curtain, the way these deals are made kind of perspective on these things.
Exactly. Sausage, baby.
Exactly how the sausage is made. And right now, they're making all kind of sausage for the State of the Union. The State of the Union was hilarious.
So much fun to watch.
What's your favorite controversial point?
My biggest point was whenever the family was recognized for the Butler family. I forgot how I say their name is a very complicated name anyway, but they were recognized for their dad losing his life defending theirs and then putting his body on top of their bodies to shield him from a bullet. Who actually the same guy who shot Trump at the time in Butler, Pennsylvania. And so whenever that happened, nobody in the Democrat side said anything. In fact, they were groaning and moaning about it. I mean, it was sick. And you also had the cancer patient. You had the girl who got paralyzed from the volleyball player who was male. I mean, you really, there's so many instances to where the Democrat Party showed exactly who they were, especially since earlier in the day, 100% of them voted to support males in the female locker room. They went against the grain of the American people. That is how much you're worried about fundraising with that small 10% group. And you and I have been talking about fundraising now since the very first show. Almost 200 shows ago. Because, by the way, this is our 200th show, by the way.
Woo-hoo!
Our 200th episode. And so for the last 200 episodes, the very first one, we were talking about fundraising as being the gig for the Democrat Party. And that's the only thing they really care about is money in their pockets. Pennies in their pockets, dollars in their wallets. That's it, Benjamins.
Well, and we'll get to this a little bit later, but the only thing that makes more money than fundraising is getting the government to give an NGO a grant that later hires you to come and give a speech.
$47 billion from the EPA that Lee Zeldin has found.
Right. We'll get back into that in a minute, but let's stay on the State of the Union because the thing that's killing me about the State of the Union was how everyone seems to somehow think that both sides don't bring sympathetic characters, when they're
Right.
giving their talk. So in the past, the Democrats have brought people like, let's see, in 2024, last year, they brought let's see, what was this cat's name? Parents of the Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, who was detained by Russia. They brought a Palestinian master's student at St. Louis University who lost dozens of family members in Gaza. Commander Shelby Nitkin is recognized for her leadership in protecting ships from the Houthi rebels. The Swedish Prime Minister, person after person after person, they do it every year. This isn't a new thing. And so to listen to the Democrats groan because Donald Trump brought some people that were sympathetic, well, then I guess you guys need to apologize for all the people you brought for the last 4 years prior to that, and then for the entire Obama administration prior to that.
Exactly.
That's just play that game.
No, this is not a new game. That's a confusing part about this is that they seem to think that Americans are that stupid and have that much of a short-term memory loss, where they don't even remember the last 4 State of the Unions done by their own president, and then the previous 4, and then previous 4, and the previous 4, and the previous 4. This has been going on ever since Reagan times and the
Yeah.
Carter times. I mean, this is
And,
nothing new.
well,
Usually, they come and they give awards to people. I mean, in fact, he actually talked more about the people that he brought last night than he did about policy, which is a rarity. Most of these speeches are more about policy and less about people and community. This is more about people and community and families and coming together than it was about policy and platitudes.
all I know is these childish little antics of theirs are going to blow up in their face. But I
Correct.
encourage them to keep on doing it. Let me tell
Oh,
you something.
please.
When Bill Clinton's pollster is telling you that you are amateurish and that what you're doing is tanking your party with America, it's probably a
Right.
good idea to listen.
Yeah, we have an article about Mark Penn, correct?
Yeah, Mark Penn, exactly.
Yeah, Mark Penn was saying that, and Mark Penn is one of the top pollsters in the
Oh
nation.
yeah.
And I mean, he was he is very good during the '90s. I mean, whenever he is actually helping conduct all the messaging, everything for the Clintons, whatever they were going through, the entire Lewinsky issue. They went through the entire the Iraqi war issue. They went through a lot of different things during that time. They had Dick Morris. They had Mark Penn. They had a very good James Carville, Paul Bagala. They had a very good rock star team of consultants who understood messaging. They understood numbers.
Hmm.
These people here are innate. They are, totally ignorant of any kind of understanding of these numbers. 80% of the people support men not coming into the women's locker room, and 100% of the Democrats voted for it. And then last night, whenever they're talking about this girl's paralyzed, for God's sakes. She's a teenager, is paralyzed and playing volleyball. They couldn't even come up to clap about that. I mean, I saw Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and she used to be the DNC chair, and she was
Hmm.
sitting there just shaking her head at the family issues or the victories and the triumphs that Donald Trump was talking about as guests of his administration to the speech.
Yeah.
Republicans don't ever do that. I mean, Republicans aren't rolling their eyes at Democrats. I mean, the classlessness. I mean, they're throwing up signs, false, this. I
Oh yeah.
mean,
The signs were beyond stupid.
but
That
earlier in the day, they had shit you don't want to talk about, or shit this, or shit that. Hey, you saw that commercial, right?
oh yeah, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, and it's childish, and it's going to blow up in their face, and it always does. Yeah, because let me tell you something. There's one thing that voters do not sink their teeth into, and it's technicalities, and that's
Right.
all they're doing. That that they've. What's crazy is this is really them trying to resurrect these talking points, trying to resurrect their methodologies of the past, the way that they used to, be able to, to terrify Republicans and to do whatever they wanted them to, because Republicans were scared. Oh my God, someone might stop liking us. Well, now we've got a leader who doesn't care if they like us or not, and bless
No,
his heart.
but guess what? I found out today. You know who the people? Remember, he was talking last night at a speech about the Panama Canal, and they were very upset about the Panama Canal idea about America controlling both ports. But I guess the people who bought the ports was BlackRock, a
Mhm.
former Biden supporter. And I mean, the thing is, when it comes to business, there is no party. Okay, it's about America first. And these business guys like Apple and Bezos with Amazon and Apple with Tim Cook and Mark Zuckerberg, all these guys are right leaning, left leaning, right leaning, left leaning. But at the end of the day, when it puts America first, it doesn't matter. It's America first, and that's where Larry Fink with BlackRock, really made a very big step forward to go ahead and buy both ports from China, and that is huge.
Well, don't get me started on BlackRock. I'm not the biggest fan of BlackRock, but
But they're protecting American sovereignty right now with that.
they ain't protecting anyone's sovereignty but their own.
Well, they are, but they take it away from the Chinese, which is very good. And now BlackRock is making a lot of deals with
Like I said, we'll
he's
talk.
my fifth cousin.
Talk in depth about BlackRock another time because that is an episode all unto itself.
It is another fake, though.
Yeah, back into the State of the Union though. I was sitting there, the thing that struck me the most was when they we're pollsters, so things like these dial tests, are things
Right.
that we always kind of they grab our attention because we know what they mean and how when they're used correctly. And one of the interesting things to me was when, let's see, what were these two issues? It was one was um oh, come on, let me get. Let's see what he talked about during the first clip. He says, "We've ended the tyranny of so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion policies." And
He said, "What no longer."
what was interesting to me when he was talking negatively about that was that, of course, the Republican red line went shot up through the roof, and then the independents, they were just a little bit behind them. And you got to remember, independents kind of are consists of disaffected Republicans and disaffected Democrats. So you kind of got a solid mix in there. And both of those guys were way in approval of, of like we're talking about. What were we talking about? Man, my brain's not working. Oh, DEI. This was the DEI poll. So but the Democrats, not surprisingly, the Republicans and the Independents are on top of it. But the Democrats, you would expect when he starts talking about DEI and opposition that they would drop way down, just like the Republicans are jumping way up, but they didn't. When you look at the markings in here, it's I don't know if these are standard deviations or just or just really basically just marching the thing, but the the red and the yellow were up two major cuts, so not the little
Right.
10. I guess if they tick them off like they normally do, then it'd be 20 points. But the Democrat was only down 3 or 4 points. The Democrat people who participated in the poll only disapproved of the DEI going away by half a dozen points. And that probably means that there are some of them that were actually agreeing with it. There's just enough of them to moderate it down or not caring about it. And then the second issue they got onto was when he said, "I signed an order making it the official policy of the United States that there are two and only two genders, male and female." Again,
Exactly.
a small drop by the Democrats, huge upswings by the Republicans and the Independents. What that tells me is that the Democrats aren't objecting to that language as much as they used to. A lot of the residual, a lot of what you're seeing here, the negativity you're seeing here, is strictly negativity about Trump. So that's the reason that they were seeing this sort of thing. And I think that that's kind of what's going to be the prevailing trend as we go. We may start seeing Democrats, that Democrat line starting to trend up on a lot of issues.
All right. Yeah, I really like this whole digital focus group. It reminds me of something that we had come up with an idea similar to this, nearly identical to this, actually, 15 years ago.
Yes, we
I think
did.
we're a little bit ahead of our time, I guess. We're ahead of technology, but I'm happy to see these guys. They're a very tight group. They're a conservative company, and are
Mm-hmm.
actually using the data for good, which is really, really important. And so it's the right kind of messaging to do. And so whenever you see that kind of messaging being tight like that, I mean, whenever Scott and I talk about our backgrounds here, I mean, this is what people need to be paying attention to. Democrats, of course, need to be really paying attention to this if they want to better themselves at all. So I actually hope they never hear about this and ever listen to it at all, because they can just keep on staying in the field the way they are. The Republicans need to pay attention to this kind of data here, because, I mean, this is the type of stuff that really launches you to the next level. I mean, and I think it's, I mean, it's good data what they got here, and it shows really this country is not woke. I mean, we're done with it. Done.
If the country were as woke as they're trying to pretend that it is, then all of these trend lines would kind of follow each other. The fact that the Democrat trend line is essentially flat on these issues, I mean, it takes a couple of dips, but most of these things
Right.
are just inertia, knee-jerk reactions where people are like, "Well, I'm not supposed to feel this way, so I'm not really going to. I'll kind of push it down." But it's that social desirability. Uh,
Complex.
yeah, where people are scared to tell you. There were a lot of people who were scared to tell you that they voted for Trump because
Totally.
they didn't want to be judged by their friends and neighbors and other folks. But You
And that
know,
was the issue that you and I had whenever we did live polling compared to IVR polling. The live
social
polling
targeting
towards
bias.
exactly the social, the bias and everything else. They were terrified of telling a live pollster they were going to vote for Trump back in 2016 or 2015. An
Mhm.
IVR, they tell it all day long. And so whenever we did our polls at, let's say, Florida, because primarily where we did most of our polling was in Florida, because our opinion is the most important state in the union, and it actually was that election. It's also it's our home base. And so we're very familiar with the numbers and the trends throughout Florida. And so that's where we do most of our work at, although we are open to doing it the other 4 United States as well. But I mean, we do most of our polling in Florida, and that's where the accuracy comes in with the IVR versus the live operator, and we had around 4 or 5% difference.
Right. And well, it depends on what it is. It could be anywhere from
Or for
4 point.
Trump, what we're asking about Trump, I mean.
Yeah, on the Trump side, yeah, it
Sorry.
is, but it depends on the issue, but it could be on the same thing. And the difference is that the live operator poll obviously is a person that you're talking to, and in some cases they might kind of guide you to
Exactly.
unconsciously guide you to a conclusion, versus a
Through a
computer.
conversation.
The IVR, the computerized polling that we used to really love was one that people didn't really care. I mean, the computer's not going to judge you; it doesn't care. People would tell it the truth. On top of the fact they didn't have to verbalize it, all they do is push a button,
Well,
press
that
one,
is gone now.
and
Biden
so
got rid of that.
there's a whole lot. I know Biden got rid of it. I wonder why. One of the most effective polling tools that we had,
Yes.
and Biden got rid of it. I wonder why.
Yeah, right now, the only legal way of polling now is live operator polling. So we just hope that the people who are doing these polls, because I mean, data is very important. It guides your budgets. It guides a lot of direction in government. And people do not realize how much these polls are very important to that. And that's one thing about, the polling after last night's speech. A lot of this data that we're seeing today is very important about driving the agenda of the results of last night's speech. And the whole idea that we're taking it now to where we have people who are live operator, which I'm not hurting. We used to run the call center. We had 600 people in our call center in Gulf Breeze, Florida, at the listener group. But in the call center, whenever these individuals get in conversations with them, if the person leans right or leans left, it might, on accident or just through a part of their conversation, steer somebody one way or the other. The IVR never did. And our accuracy level was around 5 or 6% more direct on the IVR, because it's more or less an impulse reaction. And that's the same way we're here with the digital polling that they're doing now here with Fox News Digital. And they're using, I think, Ms. Slasky, and I can't pronounce her name. It's been a long day. But anyway, they're doing really good impulse polling, which in all reality, impulse polling is your most accurate poll. And I mean, it really is. If you have to start rethinking about it and scratching the answer, it's not as accurate. And so, I mean, this data is really important, and it's really clean and really clear. And the clearness here, guys, Democrats, wake the fuck up. I mean, seriously, you are asleep at the wheel. I mean, seriously.
Democrats, stay asleep. Keep doing what you're doing. You didn't
I
do
agree
enough
with
of
that. Stay
last
asleep.
night work.
Stay asleep. Let's get some government done here first. Let's get some governing done. Because actually, that's actually one of you and I talked about our frustration with Trump in the first term, and the biggest thing was that he is very good at giving speeches, but not good at governing or crossing the aisle. That's not the case now. He has crossed the aisle. He has stuck the olive branch out. He even told the Democrats they can join him. This is a wonderful, wonderful progress in this term. Let's getting everybody together on one page to create jobs, create safety, and create a more sovereign union and make America greater again. Period.
I want to tell you, in my opinion, the thing that is going to be the death blow for the Democrats, the thing that's going to just stab the party in the heart, is Trump's designation of the cartels as a foreign terrorist organization.
Exactly.
Because right now, whether a lot of people probably don't know this, because these guys don't really advertise where they're going and what they're doing. But right now, there are Delta Force operators in Mexico, taking some tier 1 justice over to these guys,
And it is.
and there are people who are criticizing and says, well, that's a violation of Mexico's sovereignty. What do you think it is when the Houthi, when we go after the Houthis in the Gulf of, was it Aden or Hormuz or whatever? I mean, these guys, we send heavy ordnance over into the UAE. I mean, the Houthis are not in charge of the UAE. The UAE just can't
No.
figure out how to get rid of them. And Mexico has the exact same problem. While there may be a lot of elements inside Mexico condemning us for this violation of their sovereignty, there are a lot more of them that are saying, "Oh my God, thank you,"
Well, I think
because the way the cartels rule these things is that when they say that they with silver and lead. That's how they say they run the
right.
country. And they'll pay you off and you'll make a lot of money, but if you don't do it right, then you get get.
Yeah, in fact, actually, there's a recent article that just came up earlier today about a lot of vacationers in Mexico are dismembered and were left on the side of the road dismembered with missing arms and missing legs. And guys, I mean, these were American tourists and everything. I
Oh,
mean,
the,
we
the
can't
car
we can't have this.
the cartels are strapping explosives to drones and running them across the border to attack border patrol agents.
Exactly. I still remember one of my best friends growing up was a Border Patrol agent for 18 years. And he told me several times of the cartel using Mexican military tanks to go ahead and basically the immigrants would be on top of the tanks. They'd cross the border with the tanks pointing their cannons at America, and they'd jump off the tanks and go into America. And I mean, that's the way it works. I mean, nothing like threatening or intimidation of the Border Patrol guys who were not allowed to shoot back. They couldn't shoot at them. They were not allowed to shoot at them.
And and that's always been because of this fiction that we created that Mexico was an honest partner in this thing, and I don't
They're
even think
honest
that
partner with the
they're
cartel.
being, I don't even think they're necessarily being deliberately dishonest, but they know that if they don't cooperate with the cartel, I don't think there's anyone in the Mexican government that the cartel wouldn't assassinate.
Exactly. Now, I will
So
give credit to the Mexican president. She's doing a great job at trying to work with us as much as she can right now. And I think she's doing better than any of us thought she'd be doing.
well, she's certainly doing better than she said she would do.
She's doing better than you do. The guy up there in Canada, he's an extreme disappointment. Total disappointment. Like, yeah, he's bumping his chest. I mean, I'm sorry, Mexico takes more stuff from America than Canada does. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah,
The biggest import they have is bourbon.
Yeah, right. Mexico, look, Mexico. They talk a good game, but at the end of the day, they're not doing
Like
even
Canada.
remotely doing that. But I'll tell you what, I'm not surprised by Trudeau though. Trudeau is the leader of the lefties, and so I'm not surprised he's not doing well. He's not trying to do well.
It's a huge disappointment. He should go join Germany.
Well, he's about to join the rest of us at home
He did
because
retire, didn't he?
well, so he did. Canada has a different kind of government system that we do. They're a parliamentary system, so
Right.
until they can have snap elections, then they have to get him have to have someone to kind of be the prime minister. But he is
Right.
the lame duck on the way out guy. So I'm not sure when they're having their election, when they're going to have the election, but it's a bunch
I
of
think it's in April or May. Because one of the persons running for that was on Bill Maher's show.
okay.
Yeah, this last weekend.
Hmm.
She's talking about how evil Trump is. She's a
Yeah,
wonderful lefty.
well, good for her. That's exactly the kind of person we need, that Canada needs. Let me tell you something. That'd be the person that comes in, takes over the reins, runs as prime minister, tries to show her oats, and then winds up getting fired in 3 months.
Exactly. She's upset that Trump is disrespecting her, or not her, the Canada, by saying that they should be a territory of America, or they should be a state, and not recognizing them as a sovereign nation.
He is recognized them as a sovereign nation. Texas used to be a sovereign nation, and now they're a territory,
Yeah.
or they're a state. Canada, it's not an insult to Canada to say that you could go from being, who you are to one of us.
Big.
I mean, in a heartbeat. What would
Exactly.
Canada even look like? I don't know how they would do that.
I mean, it'd be huge. I mean, basically, it'd probably be 4 states. I mean, 5 states. They have their 5 provinces. It'd be 5 extra states.
Well, that's probably the simplest way to do it. But the fact of the matter is that they've got, I guess, 90% of the population of Canada lives within 100 miles of the border, of the U.S. border.
Right.
Because, it starts getting cold really fast. But,
It
it's one
really
of
does.
it's got a lot of natural resources like Russia. Did you know
Yeah.
that Russia is by far the most resource-rich nation in the world?
Yeah.
They just can't get access.
And exactly. They can't have the manufacturing equipment or the ability to get access to it. So they have a lot of wealth that they could have, but they cannot get. And
Well,
America could do it.
well, America certainly could do it. And I'll tell you the other thing: America. I know I've mentioned this a few times, but Russia is well on their way to a demographic collapse.
They
I
are.
mean, they're just a handful of years away. And the smartest thing that we could do as a nation, whether it's Trump or whomever, is start to engage with Russia in a realistic way and kind of bring them on and bring them on and bring them on, entice them into a more, rule of law kind of government and show them that if you convert to that rule of law kind of government, if you think you're rich now, Putin,
Right.
wait until you're actually, people feel comfortable coming to your country and giving you the benefit of their knowledge and their skill set, so that we can get at those.
It's like
You know,
it won't be in Putin's lifetime, though.
do what?
I think it'll be in Putin's lifetime.
Oh, I think that it will. I think that as that demographic collapse starts manifesting itself, if we are already engaged with them as a partner, then we're going to be the ones that are there to hold our friend up. Oh, our friend Russia, sorry to hear you're
Yeah.
having troubles, because they're going to have troubles right and left. And if we're there to kind of help them, then we'll say, we'll happily help you. I mean, we need a few more oil leases or a few more mineral leases of some kind, but sure, we'll help you guys.
That's a tricky, tricky deal with the devil there.
Yet it's not, because what happens is the devil starts losing power as the devil loses more and more power, because all the people that he's trying to control that are going to move this country forward, the 20-year-old and 30-year-olds are trying to do
Right.
that, are so grossly outnumbered by the 60 and 70-year-olds that their labors is offset. They're doing everything they can just to keep grandma and grandpa from dying.
I mean, the reality here, the best way for Russia to lose the control it has over its people and over its everything else it's touching is to allow Americanism to come in and encroach itself over there. Having Americans in Ukraine, like Trump is talking about, is a very good first start. Having Americans in Gaza over there in the Middle East, near Europe, is a very good first start. Yeah, I think people don't understand. It's kind of funny. Everybody's calling Trump an isolationist for years. And I think what he's doing now is the exact opposite of isolationism. He is winning American influence and they're angry at him and calling him a dictator because he's an isolationist. They're calling him a dictator because he wants to help influence other countries. I mean, it's like, it's the same mantra, the same attacks, different circumstances. It doesn't really matter. The same attacks still apply because the Democrats do not have a brain in their bodies to operate their tongues or their mouths. I mean, sorry.
I don't know about not having a brain, but the thing is that
No, it's not functioning properly.
it, it,
And
this is how they were. This is how they were trained. They were trained, and frankly, that they've been able to thrive in this environment for decades, where Republicans and conservative people were terrified that they were going to say
they
something
were.
wrong, that they were going to be able to demonize them and basically toss them out of office for literally making one wrong statement. And so it paralyzed us for a long time, because it didn't matter if what they were saying was true or not. It was still, it was.
But thank God for social media finally coming around to being neutral. It's not right wing, but it's neutral. I mean, I'm not saying that, it's better than nothing.
No, hell no. I prefer neutral, because if
Exactly.
all I've got to do is articulate a rational argument, then I feel like I'm going to win. But I'll tell
Yeah,
you, but
because
if they will articulate a liberal argument logically and rationally, I'll
actually,
listen. I mean, who knows? I mean, I certainly don't know everything, but maybe, maybe it'll work out, maybe it won't. But you got
people
to
were
listen.
telling me today about all the lies that Trump said last night. I said, please name one. They're like, we got to go back to it. And it's been like 6 to 7 hours. I've been texting him back, where's the lie at? Oh, yeah, he did get the electoral college wrong. It was 311 said 312. But
That bastard.
that mean man.
Toss him out right now,
Throw him out. Get him up.
for
But that's
sure.
it, guy. I mean, it's just it's so sad. And now Zelensky is coming back to the table. I'm glad he actually put that in his speech last night because they were waiting till the next day to do it. I mean, the timing was perfect. Zelensky's coming to the table. A lot of those minerals are in areas that are occupied by Russia, so it's going to be. I mean, people don't realize this is a very tricky thing, and we had to have Zelensky on board 100% first before we now go to Russia and have to convince them that to give up the 60% of the land that they have so we can get the minerals from Ukraine. Because the minerals from Ukraine that we are getting, 60, Russia's occupying 60% of it, and we can't get them without that. So we're going to have to make a deal now with, I mean, it's a very complicated thing. They don't seem to realize. They just think it's cookie cutter. Just make a deal. Just make a deal. Make a deal. Come on.
Yeah, that's
Biden
getting
did it. Biden
uh,
did it.
spoken like a person that's never made a deal before.
Oh, Jesus. God almighty. How did we live with 4 years of this and make it through alive? It was a
Well,
fog. I will say that. It was a little foggy.
well, I was frustrated the whole time, but I was comforted by the fact that I knew that they didn't mean a word they were saying.
Exactly. There's no way they could even figure out how the words that they're saying made sense.
No, their entire mission was to try to be was just for fundraising, to create enough angst that people would start writing checks,
And they did.
and like I've said over and over and over again, when it doesn't make sense, if you can't, think the entire thing through and say, well, wait, that doesn't really track with my experience. They expect that you're going to think, well, I just don't haven't experienced everything, so I can't say that this is ridiculous. But the reality is, you have. You've had enough experience with interacting with other human beings that you know that when these people are saying things that don't seem to compute, there's something wrong with it. And normally, what's wrong with it is the fact that they're just trying to amp you up to get you to write a check.
And all these Democrats, I'm sorry, your gravy train's over. It has four flats on a four-wheel tire on a four-wheel car. The engine is blown. The transmission's gone. There's no axle. I mean, there's no train. There's no gravy. The gravy's dead. It's gone. I mean, the whole idea here is that, I mean, the entire time, I mean, we see this now. CNN has a poll with almost 80% of the people happy with the speech.
Exactly.
80%. And these Democrats are walking out and showing their asses and doing all these protests. And then it's just stunning how much they are so out of touch continuously. I mean, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Well, it's par for the course, though. I mean, it's certainly exactly like things that we've seen forever.
Yes. Now I think the next step here is you've heard about the money that Lee Zeldin found, right? The $47 billion.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me about that.
And part of that is which is a firm that Stacey Abrams was a consultant to that only had $100 in their checking account. They got a $2 billion grant. So basically, what happened was right before the EPA shut down on the Biden administration, right before everybody went home and decided to go back to Delaware, wherever the hell they came from, and all the Bideners all ceased. They went ahead in the same day, or I guess a day or two before they shut down, they set up this here account. And they stuck $27 billion in it. And then another account with $20 billion. Now the $20 billion they can't find. The other $7 billion has already been spent. Now the bank is still holding $20 billion right now. And so there are two different settlements and everything else in the last like 30 days. So 20 billion is already gone, 7 billion is already gone. We don't know where that went. But the other 20 billion is in the bank waiting. They're waiting on the government to tell them when to send the money to these other organizations and these other NGOs. These NGOs are all ran by like Michael Bloomberg, former deputies from the Obama administration, former deputy secretaries from the Biden administration. And these aren't like, like $300,000. They're like $2 billion, $5 billion, $300 million, $40 million. Very large parachutes, very large retirement plans for people who are leaving government. And this is RICO 101. That's one thing Lee was saying. I mean, this is nothing but mafia, totally.
Well, the part that I don't understand is, if and I work with a lot of government money. I work with, I mean, a lot of these, most of the loans that build these properties that we're building, the police departments we're building, are government secured money, which makes it government money. And
right.
and I can't imagine what would happen if I got like $1 million from the bank, and then at the end of the project they said, well, hey, where did that $1 million go? I said, well, I don't know. And then we just go home. We looked everywhere. We looked. Did you look under the couch? Yeah, I looked in the couch. The $1 million is not in the couch. You know, but it is just something that we've gotten used to. Like when they say audit the Fed or they audit the Pentagon. Since I was a child, they've been calls about that, and everyone just kind of shakes their head and go, "Well, what you got to
We
do?"
ever did. And now, like today, they're auditing the VA, the Veterans Administration. They're laying off 75,000, actually 80,000 employees from the VA who are not mission critical and not necessary. Now, I'm a member of the VA. I mean, I'm a veteran, and I use them for my medical services, and my father is as well. And we depend on them greatly. Now, hopefully, it's not going to affect their care any, but basically, I think there's a lot of people that work at the VA who don't really work. They come in for 6, 7 hours a week. They get paid for 40 hours a week. There's a lot of VAs all around our nation that people are wondering if they're ever going to open. And there's personnel there getting paid, but they're always out to lunch or the doctors are always gone. And we're very lucky. We live in a part of Florida where our VAs are incredibly awesome. They're great. I mean, our clinics are very good. Our hospital is top notch. But we're very fortunate. I've heard horror stories all around the nation about other VAs where they have no idea what the personnel are even doing. And it's finally time to clean all that out. So that way the money can go to medical use, medical care, and basically housing for veterans and the needs for veterans instead of all the waste.
Well, more than one person has suggested that if you took all the real estate associated with the VA, sold it, took the money, put it in, and used it as a what do they call that when they fund a trust fund as
Right,
the endowment for a trust fund. They could
right.
take care of they could just operate like an insurance company and take care of every single veteran that's ever served.
I mean,
You know,
also, I had no idea we had 499,000 veteran assistant employees. That's a lot.
and what do they do? I mean, we almost have as many employees at the damn place as we have veterans that we're taking care of. Probably
Exactly.
more.
Yeah, I mean, I already know exactly how many veterans are a part of the VA. Roughly say, I think I was just roughly over like a million, maybe a million and a half. I'm estimating that. I'm purely guessing. Google will probably tell you if anyone wants to Google it. But the thing here is, I mean, you're correct. I mean, they're trying to get the numbers down to the 2019 numbers of 399,000 employees. That's their goal is to get down there.
Let's
And
see.
now you're looking it up real quick.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing about having Google on these podcasts. And so really helps us with our facting
Let's see.
to a degree. Google could be wrong. The internet could be wrong. This whole thing might be wrong.
I don't know.
But
It says that they enrolled in the last year. They enrolled 400,000 new veterans, but that doesn't say how many they have existing. All right, stupid. How
It should be on the next click.
are they served?
But yeah, I mean, the administration is going so well in only 6 weeks. That's one thing people nobody's really paying attention to. They're talking about soaring prices, soaring this, and soaring guys. You can't, you got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet, and Trump is doing a very good job. Period. Doing this so early and so quick. The blitzkrieg speed, totally.
Right.
It's just so nauseating talking to the left wing people I know here in this college town, the Democrats, who are just, thank God I'm in a conservative college town where majority of people here are actually not really left leaning, or left weenies. Yeah, like that either. But
Right. So they have 400. They serve 9 million veterans. Have 9 million veterans enrolled in their healthcare system. They
well,
employ
that
480,000 people.
right,
480,000 people.
right. So
So
they're going to be getting rid of 80,000, going back to 399,000.
so basically the 9 million. It takes 20% of the people. One person for every 5 veterans is employed by the VA. One person for every 5 veterans.
Am I
Really?
being needed? I don't know. Some veterans, I mean, I will say this: veterans need all the care they can get. So I don't want to do anything to dispel
No,
anything about veterans
no,
care.
no.
Period. But at the same time, it has to be efficient and it has to be ran properly. And
Well,
five
well,
per veteran seems a little bit overdone.
well, it's because they don't work, and it's because the number of people that are actually there that aren't,
That might be why they cut 80,000.
with 470,000 people or 480,000 people in there, cutting 80,000, I doubt anyone's even going to notice.
Yeah, I mean, their average salary probably is going to be around $30,000 or $40,000. So I don't know how much is that times 80,000.
I don't know. Hang on a second. How much does the average employee?
So yeah, I mean, I do know veterans need more money for medical care. We need more money for housing. We need more money for our disability benefits. Totally.
So the average annual salary of a VA employee is 105,000 with a median
What?
salary 105,000 and a median salary of 89,000.
What?
Yeah, there you go.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
What? Oh
You
my God.
heard me.
Oh my freaking God. 109,000 is the median in the 80, what do you say? 80 what?
Well, it's 89. What is it? Let's see. It was so a median salary of 89,346. It's
Oh my.
important to note that these averages encompass a wide range of positions from administrative roles to specialized medical professionals.
Admin. Okay, see, guys, this is the reason why you have bad products, okay? The VA is the reason why everybody's complaining about it. And so we can also dovetail this into school boards and schools. And the reason
Okay,
why you have so many admin heavy and
right.
teachers get.
Well, let's be fair and add a little more context to this. According to Indeed.com, salaries at the VA range from approximately 34,000 for roles like transport drivers to two hundred eighty
They're
thousand
not going
dollars
anywhere.
for urgent care physician. Now,
Transport drivers are not going anywhere.
yeah,
So they're very necessary. They are mission critical. I mean, you have
yeah,
to
yeah,
pick the people up.
the point is, it takes a lot of it takes a lot of those employees, a lot of the paying employees, a lot of the 280 level employees, I guess, to drag the what was it? What did they say it was? It was $37,000 to make $37,000 to make $100,000 the average, you have to have a lot of people that are on that higher end of the schedule. If you're starting at 37,000, that means you have a cohort, a small cohort of people at the bottom that are having that have that 37,000, and then a crap ton of people making a lot more. But
Wow.
if we cut 80,000
Veterans.
people, if we cut 80,000 people, and our average really is 107,000, oh no! Come on now.
This country has forgot their veterans totally.
Ooh, that can't be right. Let's see, thousands, millions. Yeah, well, no, that could be right. That could be right. $8.5 billion right there.
Thank you, Trump, for
Thank
paying
you.
some more money back into the pockets of the veterans and back into the deficit and everything else and getting this whole country back on track. I mean, that's the reason why they're getting rid of the DOE.
The Department of Energy. Oh my God.
No education. Department of Education. Sorry.
They need to get rid of the Department of Energy too.
Well, right now they're trying to. They got oil all the way down $67 a barrel. They're doing pretty damn good.
No. The Department of Energy is not doing that. The only thing that we need the Department of Energy to do is manage the leases. Well, you can have the Department of Interior do that.
They're good. Right now, the Department of Energy is getting all the infrastructure put in place here for the natural resource drilling to go back in the Gulf of America and all the pipelines and everything else to start getting going. So that's the reason why the Department of Energy is working a lot with the Department of Interior to do all that, because I don't think the Department of Interior can handle all that on its own.
That's really good.
Well, not yet.
Mm.
Maybe in 6 months or a year.
Well, when we start hiring a new class of federal employee,
Exactly.
the ones
AI
that
do a lot of the work.
the ones that we start hiring employees that don't know how to play solitaire on their computers, don't know
He
where
doesn't know how to do that.
don't know where Amazon is, don't know how to get on the social media, have better things to do than get on social media. We start hiring those guys, then it gets a lot easier.
Yeah, they actually have things on computers where you can actually block those websites from people going to them.
But then what do the employees do?
Complain, go to lunch early, get a 2-hour lunch,
Indeed.
and play on their phones. But America is back, and that's the way Trump ended his speech last night. The golden age of America is back, and we are going to be going a very good direction.
Well, we are well on our way to that, and I'm glad that that's the theme. Matter of fact, if that's the theme that Trump's going to wrap up on, it's probably a good one for us to wrap up on too.
Exactly. Thank you guys for staying tuned for, I guess it's nearly an hour here with Scott and I. Scott, tell everybody how they can follow us here.
Well, just like, follow, and share. We're on all the major social medias. Just check in the descriptions, and you can get in there. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter X. Follow us on Facebook, and definitely like, follow, and share us on YouTube, so that we can so you can continue getting this content, because, as you know, the algorithm works against people that tell the truth.
Exactly. They hate truth tellers. Go figure.
The algorithm hates the truth.
But you guys have a wonderful evening and have a wonderful week here of freedom. And we'll be just back on the next cast here for the Political Matrix News. I can't find the damn stop button. Well, at least we're not live. So I'll just get this fucker for it out.